Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hasham. Last video I have explained you about the perquisites which are taxable in the hands of all SSCs. So in theory I have explained you perquisites are the benefits which are provided by the employer to the employee or their family members either in cash or in kind. That is called perquisite. And how to calculate the value of the perquisite, income tax has given the rules. So first the perquisites are classified into different categories, like perquisites taxable to all employees, perquisites taxable only in specified cases, special perquisites, tax-free perquisites, like that. So first we have discussed about what are the perquisites which are taxable in the hands of all employees. The first perquisite was rent-free accommodation. So I have explained you in detail regarding the valuation of rent-free accommodation for government employees, for non-government employees. We have done 8 problems on RFA. Then other perquisites which are taxable are interest-free loan given by the employer to the employee. Nearly 5-6 problems we have done in the previous video. Now in this video I am going to explain you those perquisites which are taxable only in specified cases. These perquisites which are going to discuss now will not be taxable for every employee. It will be taxable only if the employee is a specified employee. Now we have to decide who are called the specified employees. For them only the following perquisites will be taxable. In this video I am going to explain. In the next video inshallah we will cover up those perquisites which are completely tax-free. The problems which we are going to do in the coming videos depends on all these provisions. So if you have watched these videos, definitely you don't find any difficulty in solving the problem. Otherwise, every problem will be difficult one. All the problems are based on these provisions. So be perfect on these provisions which I am going to explain. Don't skip the video. Take a screenshot of the points which I have written on the board, then I'll explain. Now, perquisites and fringe benefits taxable to specified employees. This is the second category of perquisites, which are taxable only in specified cases. Specified employees. Who are called specified employees? Income Tax Act has given 3 categories. First, employee director, employee shareholder, income from salary more than 50,000 rupees per annum. If any one of these 3 conditions are satisfied, then the employee will be called specified employee and the following perquisites will be taxable. Otherwise, it will not be taxable. If no conditions are fulfilled, then the perquisite is not at all taxable. First of all, employee director. All the directors are not employees. There are 1 or 2 directors who are director as well as employee. Normally, he will be called managing director. He is a manager as well as director. So if a director is there who is an employee, he is called a specified employee. And for him, the following perquisite will be taxable. Secondly, employee shareholder. Employee is there who is also holding shares of the company, not less than 20%. If an employee is there who is holding shares of the company 20% or more, then he is called employee shareholder. For them, again, these perquisites will be taxable. Thirdly, any employee whose income from salary is more than 50,000 per annum, then again he is called a specified employee. Now, if the employee is not satisfying any of the above 3 conditions, then the perquisite provided under this category become tax-free, not taxable, if no conditions are satisfied. Any one of the conditions satisfied, then specified employee taxable. What are the perquisites? The following perquisites are taxable in specified cases. First one, provision of car and other conveyance. Many a times, the employer will provide a motor car or any other conveyance to the employee or their family members. Then this motor car provision is a taxable perquisite for specified employees. Motor car is provided for personal use of the employee or the family members. Secondly, provision of services of servants. Some servants are appointed by the employer. Servants are appointed by the employer and send these services of the servants to the employee. For example, I am the employer, you are the employee. For your service, I am providing the servants. I have appointed the servants and paying the salary to the servants. But the servants are providing the service to the employee. Then it is a taxable perquisite for specified employees. Thirdly, supply of gas, electricity and water. Sometimes the employer will provide the gas, electricity and water, which is in the name of the employer, but these commodities are provided freely to the employees. It's a taxable perquisite in specified cases. Next one, educational facilities. Sometimes educational facilities are provided to the family members of the employee. That is also taxable perquisite. Then transport facility allowed by transport organization. Some transport organization, they will provide transport facility to the employee or family members. So these 5 are those perquisites which are taxable only in specified cases. If the person is not a specified case, then these perquisites will be tax-free, not taxed. Now one by one we have to discuss. First of all, motor car. Very frequently in main problems you will come across this perquisite, motor car. So you should be clear regarding the provisions given by Income Tax Act regarding valuation of motor car perquisite. If motor car or any other conveyance for personal use of the employee or his family member is provided by the employer, then the perquisite is taxable for specified cases. Motor car is not a taxable perquisite for every employee. It is a taxable perquisite only if the employee is a specified employee. So many a times motor car or any other conveyance is given by the employer to the employee or their family members. It's a taxable perquisite for specified employees. If the employee owns the car and all expense for running maintenance are paid by the employer, then it becomes a taxable perquisite for all employees, not only for specified, everybody. What is the case? If the motor car is owned by the employee, example, I am the employer, you are the employee, you are owning a motor car. You are owning a motor car. In that case, the running expenses, petrol, maintenance, all these expenses are paid by the owner, by the employer. By the employer. Employer is paying petrol expenses, maintenance expense, service expense, all expenses are paid by the employer. But the motor car is owned by the employee. Then whatever expenditure incurred by the employer is a taxable perquisite for everybody, not only for specified employees, for every employee. The condition, motor car should be owned by the employee. That's it. Second, motor car is owned or hired by the employer and the car is used by the employee for official or business purpose only. Perquisite is nil. Second case, motor car is owned by the employer or hired by the employer and given this motor car to the employee only for business purpose, only for official purpose. That means he is not getting any personal benefit. The employee is coming in his own conveyance. After coming to the office, the employer is providing the car of the office. Business motor car, it is provided just to use it for business purpose. When the business purpose is over, he has to hand it over the car and go on his own conveyance. That means he is not getting any personal benefit. So, if the motor car is owned or hired by the employer and the motor car is used only for official purpose, the value of the perquisite is nil, no perquisite. If the motor car is owned or hired by the employer and the employee is using the car for personal purpose only. Now see here, motor car is owned or hired by the employer, and all expenses of running, maintenance expenses paid by the employer, but the motor car is used exclusively for personal use, completely personal use. I am the employer, I have given you the car, you are my employee, I have given you the car. Use it personally only. Don't use the car for official. Completely use personally. And all expenses, running, maintenance, petrol will be paid by the owner, by the employer. Income tax axis. It is a taxable perquisite. Then what is the value of the perquisite here? Actual amount spent by the employer on running and maintenance of the motor car. Petrol expenditure, services expenditure, maintenance, whatever expenditure incurred by the employer, that will be added. Plus driver's salary. If driver is also there and the salary is paid by the employer, that also will be added. And depreciation of the car at 10% on cost. Depreciation of the car at 10% on cost, that will be added. Plus that's it. So 3 items will be added. Actual amount spent by the employer on running, maintenance of the car, and driver's salary if any, or depreciation at 10%. These 3 added together is the value of the perquisite. If the motor car is owned, hired by the employer and given to the employee exclusively for personal use. If the motor car is hired one, we will not take depreciation. Depreciation will be added only if the car is owned by the employer. If the employer has hired the car, then hire charges will be added. So instead of depreciation, hire charges will be added if it is hired. Next, if the motor car is owned or hired by the employer, and the employee is using the motor car partly for official and partly for personal use. Here the point is very, very important. Students must concentrate on this point, because this point will frequently come in the problems. Motor car which is owned or hired by the employer, and this motor car is given to the employee for partly official purpose and partly for personal purpose. For both the purposes motor car is given. Then what is the provision? Case 1. When the expenses for personal use are paid or reimbursed by the employer. Suppose motor car is given by the employer to the employee and all expenses are paid by the employer. The motor car is used for private and official, partly for personal use and partly for official use. In that case, the value of the perquisite is small car 1800 per month, big car 2400 per month. When we call it as small car, big car, I will tell you. But right now you remember the provision. If it is a small car, 1800 per month. If it's a big car, 2400 per month is the value of the perquisite. If the motor car is given by the employer to the employee for both personal and official purpose, and all expenses are paid by the employer, then this is the situation. Second case, when the expenses for personal use are paid by the employee. Motor car is given by the employer to the employee, but instructions are, if you use the motor car for personal use, pay your own expenses. Employer is not paying. I am the employer. I have provided a car to you and given the instruction that when you use the car for your personal purpose, use your own money. Pay your own money. Employer is not paying. In that case, small car 600 per month, big car 900 per month. This is very important. First point, motor car is given for both personal and official purpose. Personal and official purpose. Secondly, you have to see who is paying the expenses. If all expenses are paid by employer, then small car 1800 per month, big car 2400 per month. First case. Second case, if the expenses of personal use are paid by employee only, in that case, small car 600, big car 900. That's it. And note, if the employer pays driver or chauffeur, driver is also called chauffeur. If the employer pays driver or chauffeur salary, then add 900 per month to the car value. Sometimes in the problem it will be given, driver is also provided by the employer. Employer is giving the car and also a driver. If driver is also provided, then 900 rupees per month will be added to the car value. Then ignore whatever is the actual salary paid to the driver. Whatever actual salary paid to the driver, ignore it. Just add up 900 per month. Then according to IT rules, if the CC stands for cubic capacity, power of engine of the car. According to IT rules, if the CC of the engine of the car is less than 1.6 liters or 1600 cc, then it will be treated as small car. Here we have seen small car, big car. How we can be able to know the capacity of the engine? If the engine capacity is 1.6 liters or 1600 cc, up to 1600 cc, it will be treated as a small car. If the cc is more than 1600, it will be called a big car. Sometimes the car capacity is not not measured in terms of cc, but in HP, horsepower. The engine capacity of the car is also expressed in terms of HP, horsepower. Up to 16 HP, the car is categorized as a small car. If HP is given instead of cc, we can say up to 16 HP car is a small car. Over 16 HP car is a big car. This is the identification of small car and big car. That's all. Free transport facility between residence and office. If an employer provides free transport facility from the residence to the workplace, then this free transport facility is a tax-free perquisite. That's all. These are the complete provisions regarding motor car. Now, second perquisite, provision of service of servant. Just now I told you, sometimes employer will provide the service of servants to the employees. Employee is not paying. The servants are provided by the employer and payment is also made by the employer. In that case, whatever payment made by the employer is the perquisite value in the hands of employee, for only specified employees, not for everybody. If the employer provides the service of servants like sweeper, gardener, watchman and personal attendant to the employee or his family member, then it is a taxable perquisite. The actual payment made by the employer is the value of the perquisite. The only thing is, the servant should not be appointed by the employee. If the servants are appointed by the employee, payment made by the employer, it's a taxable perquisite for everybody. Not only for specified, but everybody. If the servants are appointed by employees. But if the servants are employed by the employer and services provided to the employee, then it is taxable only for specified employees. Payment made by the employer is the value of the perquisite. Next one, supply of gas, electricity and water. Regarding supply of gas, electricity and water, if the connection is in the name of the employer, and employer is providing electricity, gas, water to the employees, then whatever payment made by the employer is a taxable perquisite for specified employees. For specified employees. For example, I am the employer. I am having gas connection in the company's name, employer's name, and the gas cylinders are supplied to the employees free of cost, without paying anything. The gas cylinders you are getting from the employer, it is called free gas supplied by the employer. It's a taxable perquisite in your hand. Whatever amount paid by the employer is a taxable value in your hand for specified employees. Similarly, electricity. Electricity meter is in the name of the employer. Electricity used by the employee, payment made by the employer, taxable perquisite in your hand. Same is the case for water. Next comes educational facilities. If educational facilities are provided, in what sense? If the employer pays or reimburses fees for the studies of employee, then it becomes a tax-free perquisite. Employee is undergoing some course, studying something, but the fees, if payment or reimbursement is made by the employer. You are my employee, you are undergoing some course, some studies, and the payment of fees is paid by the employer, or you have paid the fees and later on I have reimbursed. It's a tax-free perquisite because the studies are made by the employee. Cost of refresher courses attended by employees and payment made by the employer and amount spent on training is also tax-free perquisite. In the coming problem we come across, the employees have undergone the crash course, some courses. For attending those courses, the employer is making the payment. Income Tax Act says it's a tax-free perquisite. Then, when the employer provides educational facilities to the members of the family, employee's family, either free of cost or at concessional rate, it becomes taxable. Educational facilities are provided by the employer to the family members of the employee. Then it is a taxable perquisite for specified employees. Last one is transport facilities allowed by transport organizations. Apart from railways and airlines, any other transport organization providing transport facility to the employees or their family members, it's a taxable perquisite for specified employees. That's all. So in this video, I have explained you what are the perquisites which are taxable only in specified cases, not everyone. Who are the specified cases? Number one, employee director. Second, employee shareholder. Third, any employee whose income from salary is more than rupees 50,000 per annum. These three cases are specified, and the given 5 perquisites are taxable for them only, not for everyone. Inshallah, in the next video, I'll explain you all tax-free perquisites. That marks the end of the topic perquisite. Then we'll go for profit in lieu of salary after that.